All right, you're welcome back. Spain has mounted a sweeping anti-terror operation after a suspected militant drove a van into crowds in Barcelona, killing 13 people before fleeing.
Police suspect the incident is just one of multiple planned attacks as they hunted for the van's driver, who was seen escaping on foot. Authorities say they killed 5 attackers last Thursday in Cambrils, a town south of Barcelona, to thwart a separate attack using explosive belts.
And 6 civilians and a police officer were injured in the town when the attackers ran them over in a car before police shot them dead and carried out controlled explosions. The so-called Islamic State claimed responsibility for the Barcelona rampage along the city's most famous avenue, which was packed with tourists taking an afternoon stroll.
Well, the death toll could rise, with more than 100 injured.
Well, joining us via Skype from the UK is preventive terrorism expert Temitope Olodo. Good morning and thanks for joining us.
Good morning and thanks for having me.
Yes, indeed. Now, from Paris to Germany to Stockholm, ISIS has been putting its signature mark on terror. Now, Barcelona. Is ISIS really weakened back home and wanting to show some strength in places like Europe? Is that what is going on?
I think what is clearly going on is that ISIS is using their propaganda properly and ensuring that citizens born in Europe, children of migrants, are carrying out their dirty jobs out in Europe. I think it's important to highlight here that all the individuals, or 99% of the individuals that be involved in terrorist activities within mainland Europe are European citizens. They are not migrants. They are not people traveling from Muslim countries. So countries calling on people advocating for a ban of Muslims entering into European countries are actually now confused because most of the individuals carrying out these activities are European citizens. They are not people traveling on visas to visit Europe.
All right, how worrying is the information given by the Spanish police that the terror group had planned a more serious attack, if not for the accidental explosion at a house there on Wednesday?
It is quite worrying. It's worrying because, again, these individuals are not within the security agency's radar. And even when that explosion happened, the security services were unable to identify the individuals, the 3 individuals that were killed in the rubble, nor were they able to, link it up with any terrorist activities. And that's the reason why people like myself and other security analysts have been highlighting that individuals that are associated with this radical ideology should be noted. Their information should be passed across, because what they've managed to do is hire a car and being able to carry out these diabolical acts, against innocent citizens going about their daily activities.
Now, Barcelona seems to have been blindsided with this terror attacks that happened on Thursday, the twin attacks, as a matter of fact. It's a country that is not new to terrorism, but of course it hasn't experienced any in decades now. Well, security services have refused to raise the terror alert from 4 to 5, saying they're on top of the situation. Observing, what has been going on so far, do you really think the Spanish authorities are in control, since they say they've actually diminished the powers of the terror cells in Barcelona and in other places within Spain?
From our opinion, none of the European countries are really up to speed with the movement and the flexibility of these individuals. If you take the UK, for example, there are 3,000 core jihadists that they are aware of, and another 23,000 that are in the periphery. The same thing with Spain. They have about 300 returned jihadists, or the jihadists that have gone to Syria. From my observation, none of them are actually working in pace with the
diabolical acts that these individuals want to carry out. And I think this is the reason why some of the things that I've been advocating for is the introduction of what we call an ASBO, which is a system that allows them to restrict movement of individuals that are known associates of this twisted ideology, to keep them within a specific area, to restrict their movement, place them on house arrest and things along that line. Because if you don't do that, any of these individuals, armed with a knife, could cause havoc and kill people.
Stay with us, Temitope. We'll get to you in a bit. Let's bring in Foladele at this point to tell us what people are saying about this Spain attack on social media.
How are you?
To you, Fola.
Good morning, ladies. Good morning, Temitope.
You seem a bit troubled by this.
Yes, of course, as you can imagine.
Yeah.
But let's see how people are reacting.
Yeah.
Shannon Sharp says President Trump condemns terror attacks in Spain within hours. Being forced took days for him to condemn white supremacists in Charlottesville. Buck Buddy Brooks says, rest in peace to the beautiful young Australian boy taken from us in the Spain terror attacks, 7 years old and taken too soon. And there's a heartbreak emoji, of course.
Yeah.
Shad says, terrible news of a terror attack in Barcelona, Spain. The world must unite to eradicate the ideology that inspires such attacks. Aileen Kakan says all countries backing ISIS must be punished. The root of terror attacks must be cleaned. We're always with you. Hashtag Barcelona and hashtag Spain. Brian Knox says, but Spain is not immune to attacks. 2004 Madrid train bombings killed 200 plus people and remains the deadliest terror attack in EU this century. And we have the final one from Gary, who says, are Nazis and white supremacists in US and ISIS in Spain possibly coordinating attacks to maximize terror? Is anyone reviewing communication channels? Temitope, I'm going to take this question to you. So Gary has a theory and he's asking, are Nazis and white supremacists in US and ISIS in Spain possibly coordinating attacks to maximize terror? What do you think about that?
No, I don't think so. I think what we're having here, they are all organizations who are involved in violent extremism, and they all need to be stopped. I think our security agencies need to work on them, whether you're white supremacist or a jihadist with a political agenda that is twisted. What we're talking about are individuals that do not have regard for our civil liberty, and we all need to come together to make sure that we stop them in their track and stop them from killing more people.
But it seems that the latest trend now in terror attack is to ram vehicles into people and then engage in knife attacks.
Definitely, and that's the reason why we need to start looking at this particular aspect of ramming cars into, because they have easy access to cars. And that's the reason why government, especially in the UK, for example, are now introducing new measures before you'll be able to hire cars. But we also need to let your viewers know that just a few weeks ago, ISIS released their Grozy magazine in which they gave advice, in an 18-page magazine on how, to bomb a train. So any country that is going through terrorism attacks now, like Nigeria, Morocco and all the other countries, need to start reviewing their real security strategy to make sure that it's fit for purpose and it's able to stop these individuals. It's about prevent, it's about protect, it's about pursue, and it's about being prepared for this kind of incident. Now, when it happens, we're able to deal with it, we're able to protect against it, we're able to prevent individuals from being radicalized, and being able to deconstruct those individuals that are being radicalized and use them as an intelligence to gather more, to be able to stop and disrupt activities of these diabolical individuals.
All right, Foladele, we'll have to
Very
let you go.
disturbing.
Very disturbing indeed. Now, one of the questions on the tweets was, how do we eradicate these ideologies that fuel this kind of terrorism? Looking at the response of the families of these young people, some of them as young as 17, the families were as shocked as the rest of the world that their family member could actually carry out such heinous attacks. Where should this ideological, resetting or reset where should it really start? Should it start with the families or the communities, or who should be responsible for this?
I think you've asked the most important question, because there is need for an interchange between community and the families. Because if you're taking your child, to the mosque, or you're taking them to certain places, in terms of what they're being taught, they should be taught the foundation of their faith. So they should be able to know which one is that part of faith that should not be carried out. So if you look at the Christian community, you can't see them stoning women for adultery anymore. Now, if people still believe in this kind of Salafi, or this kind of ideology of the Salafi and the Wahhabs, we need to be able to tell people that this is not allowed in a civilized society. So it's those kind of things. We need to take these people through a proper understanding of the Quran, and the family needs to watch what their children and who their children are associated with. It's those kind of things. The community also, or the Muslim community, can issue a fatwa against this individual, so that anybody within the community will know that this kind of activities is not allowed among the Muslim community. We must not blame the Muslim community for what is happening. We must blame those imams who are involved in this kind of activities, and we must blacklist them. If you blacklist an imam that preach this kind of message, when you see your children, families see their children associated with those kind of imams, then they will speak out. But if they are not blacklisted and they are allowed to preach their message of hate, then definitely these individuals who are vulnerable will be receptive to their messages.
Indeed, protect your children from those that will twist the tenets of your religion. Thank you for your analysis on the show today. Temitokpe Olodo, you're a security expert. Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much.